Yeah?
Cushion.
Oh, I see. Yeah, it is a big game. I hate the fact that
Learn about the veteran?
Northern Highlands has
Learn about the
always
president, huh?
won the big games when my sons were involved. And I just don't want to see that happen again, right?
Yep.
Like, one time, I think it was a 4th or 5th grade game, they had a they were up by 2, and there was like 10 seconds left. And they're like, all right, just play some good defense, and just don't foul him on a 3-pointer. They fouled him on a 3-pointer, and he made all free throws, and they lost the game by 1. I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
Oh, we like answers.
Reese is a rocket scientist, isn't he though, Pete? Yeah. Oh, how come the PSE and G guy wouldn't know that?
You know, they do that today. They sell them meters in small gas. Go back. They're on the streets and so on. Wow. It was a tight zone.
It was coming through the wall. I was right behind the wall. I told exactly where it was. That's funny. You're right. The gas company was here today.
Yeah, yeah. All right, look. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Sorry. Sorry.
You there? You good?
Good.
Yeah, maybe.
It's time, Mayor.
I know. Waiting for the Woody to be seated. You all settled in?
Hey, Rudy, how you doing?
I'd like to call the 7 p.m. work session meeting to order. Nancy, could we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Boonstra?
Here.
Mr. Fisher?
Here.
Mr. Melchione?
Here.
Mr. Shanley?
Here.
And Mayor Madigan.
Yes, I'm here.
Good to know. This
Okay,
regular
Nancy,
work
would you read the
session,
open public meeting? Thank you.
this regular work session meeting of the Wykoff Township Committee is now in session. In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this meeting appears on our annual schedule of meetings. A copy of said annual schedule has been posted on the bulletin board in Memorial Town Hall. A copy has been filed with the municipal clerk and has been posted on our municipal website. A copy has also been emailed to the Record, the Ridgewood News, and the North Jersey Herald News, all newspapers having a general circulation throughout the Township of Wykoff. At least 48 hours prior to this meeting, the agenda thereof was similarly posted, filed, and emailed to said newspapers.
Okay, Finance Committee has signed everything, Nancy?
Everything is signed, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Okay, can I have a motion to open for 10-minute public comment? Public comment, 2 minutes per speaker for public comment, any governmental issue. that a member of the public feels may be concerned to the residents of the Township of Wykoff.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Boonstra?
Yes.
Mr. Fisher?
Yes.
Mr. Melchiong?
Yes.
Mr. Shanley?
Yes.
And Mayor Madigan?
Yes.
With an affirmative vote, the motion is approved.
Okay, thank you. Any member of the public that wishes to address the governing body, please come forward. State your name, address,
No address, just name, please.
name. What about serial number? You don't need that anymore either, Nancy? Okay. Yes, sir, how are you?
I'm good.
Welcome.
If you don't mind, I'll share my address as I'm with my neighbors. Good evening, everybody. Fred Litt, 416A Bromley Place, Spring Meadow Condominiums, Wyckoff, New Jersey. Email, Fred@Family Technology Associates. Good to see everybody. Mr. Mayor, good to see you again. Committee members, as always. And most importantly, thank you very much for all the volunteer time that you put in to serve the community. I have a couple of prepared remarks that I'd like to share with you. In my last visit with you in July and August, I introduced many of you to the Spring Meadow Condominium Association, a community of over 150 active, vibrant, and financially independent seniors. We are a self-managed community. Our 112 resident units are independently owned. We snowplow our streets, maintain our property and buildings, and provide activities for our neighbors. We don't need schools, we don't need recreation fields, and our public safety requirements are few. As a community, we pay over $1 million in real estate taxes, contribute to the Municipal Open Space Fund, and every day hope to take advantage of everything that Wyckoff has to offer its senior citizens. The median age of our 150 residents, which includes 50 men and 100 women, is in the mid-70s. We like to shop, to dine, and for recreation, we like to walk. Some walk laps around our 25-acre complex daily. Some walk in groups. Some walk their dogs. One of our neighbors who suffers from sight loss is assisted by her neighbors for their daily group walk. While many of Wyckoff's resources, such as Boulder Run, are only a short distance from our entrance, our problem is that we are bordered by Wyckoff Avenue, which for many of our seniors is a dangerous pedestrian moat. The mere 35 feet across Wyckoff Avenue from our entrance to the nearest sidewalk alongside St. Elizabeth Church is too dangerous for most of our residents to dash across. Age adds to the risk of walking. Many of our residents are sight or hearing impaired. Some require a cane or walker or the assistance of a neighbor. A few of our residents can no longer drive given their limitations. Spring Meadow has a significant group of residents that worship regularly at St. Elizabeth Church. As Wyckoff Avenue is too dangerous to walk across, they are forced to drive the short distance of only a few hundred feet. Standing at the entrance of Spring Meadow Drive, looking left, there is no sidewalk or crosswalk. Looking right, there is no sidewalk, with the nearest crosswalk several hundred feet away. The nearest traffic light is several hundred yards away at Clinton Avenue. Looking directly across Wyckoff Avenue, the shortest distance to the sidewalk along St. Elizabeth Church, a distance of only 35 feet, there is a no crossing sign that was posted by the county in 2020 as they deemed this short path too dangerous for pedestrian travel. The only pedestrian pathway to a traffic light requires a walk of almost a mile along Spring Meadow Drive, along Charles Avenue, along West Main Street, back to Wyckoff Avenue, finally arriving at a traffic light on Clinton Avenue. This is not reasonable. On a rainy, snowy, or icy day, this is dangerous. When I asked the county engineers what could be done, they responded that any request must come from the municipality. Whether the solution includes a sidewalk, crosswalk, traffic light, push-button crossing sign, or crossing guards, we need a safe and reasonable pedestrian path to Wyckoff at large. During our chat at the August meeting, I believe the committee understood the issue, with the mayor offering that he might have feedback to share in 60 to 90 days. I am joined tonight by several of my neighbors to receive your updates, and if my neighbors are comfortable, I would encourage them to provide any feedback or to share their personal experiences. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. First of all, thank you for coming. And I remember we did put a subcommittee together, and if I calculate, we're probably about 75 days, but both Scott Fisher and Rudy Boons are on that subcommittee, so maybe Scott, you could tell us where you are and give some feedback and welcome everybody from Spring Meadow.
Sure. Welcome.
Can I ask that you speak into the microphones to help us hear you a little bit better?
Is that good?
Better, yes.
Okay.
Right.
I usually cast pretty well, but I'll use this to help. So first, welcome. Is it? It's on.
There's no,
The speakers actually don't broadcast.
these are just recorded.
Just for the recording.
Okay. Well, I'll just.
Speak up.
For the
I'll-
recording, that would be helpful.
Well, it's fine. So first, welcome. Thank you for coming. All the members up here are more than interested in helping you get or achieve what I think you're looking for, which is safe access across Wyckoff Avenue. For those of you that don't know, my past history was the Director of Public Works for this town for 34 years. That intersection has been a problem for all the years that I was served within that capacity. We've had many meetings over the years. We've had many members of your community approach the township on what could we do. We've met out there with past police chiefs. We met out there with members of the county. And unfortunately, it is a very dangerous intersection. I will tell you that if my mother lived in that community, I would not want her crossing at Spring Meadow. So that leads us to tonight, and Mr. Litt, as a new member of your community, approaching this board to see if we can help you and try to come up with a solution, even though it's been quite challenging over all these years. I have met out there in the past month with Mr. Boonstra. We have walked the site. We do have some ideas. We met out there today with a member of the Bergen County Road Department. I have another meeting tomorrow with an ex-engineer from the county who actually does some like consulting work, who is a resident of this community and is very well aware of that intersection. So tomorrow we're going to walk it a second time. We did not want to actually meet with you at that point because we want to give you something solid to work with. But we have not neglected it. We have not, it's just taken a little bit longer. Sorry, longer than 60 days. Sometimes it just takes a little longer during the summer months, trying to get everybody to meet on the same schedules. But we have actually picked up the ball recently and it's rolling in a good direction. I think we have a good plan, but we do have to get everybody on board to agree that it would work. In just simple concept, without giving you too much information, it's a matter of having a sidewalk installed along the top side of your pond to the actually property line of the jeweler at this point, with a crossing at that point to the St. Elizabeth side sidewalk. It would take some severe engineering and construction, but it could be possible. And that is what we're looking at this point.
Is there that's excellent. Is there a second thought, a second option that you're considering?
Well, for those of you that don't know, I'm retired and I work at the YMCA. So, and I see many of your residents walking through the YMCA, which is great. I mean, I know a lot of the residents there also go to the YMCA, which is a great asset to this community for that reason. And you're free, as always, to walk through that site. But there could be possibly an access through there, kind of joined to the two properties. The problem I have with it is that if I get you to the other side, which would be the road access to the Y, it still brings you up into a kind of an awkward location at the intersection to Wyckoff and that driveway. So to me, that it's possible, but it's not a great idea. I have walked it, I've looked at it many different times, and I'm just not real comfortable with that one. I think the one I've described to you all is a better one that I think could be real feasible. We just have to do some more homework on it to see if we can really make it happen.
A, thank you. B, that's not bad, what you're telling us. And even options that you don't think are great, we'd also love to hear your rationale behind that. So let me only encourage, A, we will, anything you need, if you need volunteers to do, I can't imagine what, please ask, okay, number one. And please just include us in as much discussion, good, bad, whatever it is, just so that we have a sense of progress.
Yes.
That's really what's important. So, Mr. Fisher, good job, thank you.
Thank you.
By the way, we still want to hear other public comment, but I just wanted to comment. Scott, now that coincidentally they're here, you can still report on it as you were scheduled to do so at our regular committee meeting.
Sure.
Or you can
That's fine.
tell us we just did it. Does anybody else would like to speak, come forward on anything, any issue?
Again, your safety is our of utmost concern.
Of course.
And that intersection, unfortunately, was not designed by the men that sit here tonight. We wouldn't have allowed it to happen that way, I'm sure. But it did happen, and now we have to live with it and try to get the best out of it. And that's where we're going with it at this time. So I just wanted to let you know, your safety is our concern. And again, it's just not a good design, and we're just gonna have to figure out how to make it better.
Okay, we have a motion to close to the
Oh,
public.
there's somebody
I'm
coming,
sorry,
yeah.
come on forward, ma'am.
Good evening. My name is Carol Goulian. I live at 417C Bromley Place. I've been there 3 years, and it's a wonderful community. It's my first 3 years in Wyckoff, and I have found it to be a great place to live. I appreciate all of you being here. I appreciate everything you do in your volunteer capacities. I know it's not an easy job. And I do want to thank you for looking into this issue. It is important to so many of us to be able to cross safely. I do have a question. As this process evolves, and if that can be, that sidewalk and that crosswalk can be done, I understand it's a county road, but could then the county be brought in to take a look at the speed of the cars on that road? I know coming from Mawa, I get my directions mixed up, but coming from Mawa with Spring Meadow on the right-hand side, coming down Wyckoff Avenue, just before the curve, there's a sign that says 20 miles an hour and has, nobody goes 20 miles an hour. And I'm just wondering if the speed limit that's posted as 35 back further might be changed. If that could be something that would be discussed with the county, if they're in charge of all that, if that could be, one of these.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, well, there's side issues.
It was actually brought up today in our short meeting,
Okay,
because we were standing there watching them fly past us,
yes.
and they were flying past us.
They do.
Yes.
They do.
So,
Way too
It's a
fast.
very
Yeah.
good point.
yeah, so, yeah, there's a lot of things to discuss, and a lot
Okay.
of things to consider.
All right,
And we're gonna try and do everything in our power to make it as safe as possible and make this happen.
appreciate that. Thank you very much, all of
We
you.
discussed other calming mechanisms too, but with everything you do as a trade-off, that creates another little issue. So.
There's yes, got a snowballs. Okay, thank you very much.
Anybody else?
Yep.
Mrs. Toomey coming up. We know Mrs. Toomey very well.
Janet,
We know where you live and everything.
well, Janet Toomey is my name now that I don't have to give my address. First of all, congratulations to the two newly elected people to our township committee, Pete and Scott.
Thank
and
you.
we're very happy to have you here, and are very proud of you too. Thank you.
Thank you.
I did want to thank Matt because I did contact the Shade Committee secretary, and I will give her my information and ask them how pleased they are with the information that they got from one of our members. And we are very happy they are paying attention to it because we understand some of those trees have been removed. Our spotter spotted some of them removed or taken care of.
It's good.
Do you get to know, see, that's part of what by the way, they don't have a meeting in November or December. And I was not aware that they had a meeting about a week ago or 2 weeks ago. We had two kind of, two together, and then theirs was in between, so I didn't realize that. And I would have gone, But anyway, do you keep in touch with them?
Shade Tree Commission?
Yeah. Okay.
Anna's actually in the next office. Oh, Anna's
Oh.
in Nancy's office. So.
Yeah, okay. And she, yes.
Yeah.
She's very nice too, Nancy. Thank you.
And Scott's the liaison to the Shade Tree Commission.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
And those three gentlemen that are on the commission are all landscapers.
Landscapers.
Is that correct?
Yeah, they're
Correct.
landscape professionals. They've been in the business a long time.
Mm-hmm.
They do have a long expertise in trees and
Mm-hmm.
landscaping, and they're volunteers as well.
Mm-hmm.
They assist, to help us go out and address issues, safety issues with
Mm-hmm.
shade trees along our roadways. So, yeah,
Okay, that's good.
been a body that's been in existence for a real long time.
Okay. I wasn't aware of that. I wasn't sharp enough to be reading about it, I guess, and
Okay.
I should have. But thank you very much. And I would like to ask Tim if you would tonight make some kind of a comment about the school that we're involved in, the school issues that we're involved in, because many of the members may not know about, members of my community may not realize that this is,
Sure.
should be of interest. Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. By the way, for those that don't hear from Spring Meadow, I think you should be very grateful and thankful for Mrs. Toomey and Mrs. Carbone, because they come to our meetings. And we have meetings twice a month, and they get here usually by 7. And we try to get them out of here so they can go to bed at 8:15, but we're not always guaranteed it. But you're very dedicated, and you're fortunate to have them in your community. And just one other thing before I ask to close to the public, we may have some comment, but we're the governing body. We generally don't comment on the schools. The school is their own separate entity. So, just in case you want to find out something, I suggest you go to school board meetings either at the high school or K to 8. Mr. Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor, as a newbie to Wyckoff, I have a question. I'm a senior and now live in a community of seniors. The issues really smack me in the face every day. And we do have a number of seniors who are not physically capable. And I don't know how to help them. I don't know enough about how the township works, what the resources are. If one of you may have responsibility over senior services. So whether, again, the issues that we raised tonight, while we are awaiting a hopeful solution, they exist today. And there are residents literally that are walking about all over trying to get across that really have sight issues. And they call me. My name is floating out there, and they say, what can I do? And I'm saying, I'm not sure. Okay, so you have my email. If there are people within our community, and again, not the county, but I'm hoping more Wyckoff-driven, that I can offer to help them go shopping, to help them get a reliable bus service, to help them cross the street, in some guided, safe profession, is one of our recent residents basically came from New York City. She was a crime victim. She moved here basically looking for a safe community. She said she loved it. It was flat. She can get everywhere she wants. She could walk. Then she shows up and she finds out there's no way to cross the street. And basically, we have a sight-impaired resident who can't drive because she's sight-impaired, walking around Charles Street on West Main Street. And I don't know how to help her. And I'd love to find a way, if you folks have some suggestions, or if there's somebody in the township that can work with us as a liaison to whomever for senior services or senior support.
Right, so
Just
just
a
on
thought.
that point, I'm technically the liaison to the Wyckoff seniors, which means the Wyckoff seniors that
Right.
meet twice a month at the Larkin House. This is kind of an expanded request. I think it's fair to ask, and anything that we know at Matt through our administration, particularly on residents. We do have some residents that are signed up that have issues that our police are aware of, but we would encourage that as
So
well.
the township has no built-in resource for this?
Correct.
Correct.
Yeah, we
Okay.
don't-
Christian Healthcare Center.
Christian Healthcare
They'll
Center
give you a
offers
call
a
Okay.
lot.
if you call.
So again, we are active volunteers and participants and people who want to think. So this may be an opportunity for us to partner together to find a solution, because Wyckoff is 20% seniors according to the 2020 census. We are a senior community. When you look at
With
us
an
versus,
aging population,
yeah,
including me. I'm right in the middle of it.
Including me.
I didn't quite make 70 yet, but come next May, you can all sing happy birthday to me.
you'll come to one of our parties.
Oh, that'd be great.
You have to bring your own, but anyway. But
Okay, that's a
look
good
at us
idea.
as a resource
Good.
for you.
I'm glad you brought
okay?
that up. It's
Thank
a very
you.
good point. Thank you. Okay, seeing none, we have a motion to close.
Motion to close public comment.
Second?
Mr. Boonstra?
Yes.
Mr. Fisher?
Yes.
Mr. Melchiong?
Yes.
Mr. Shanley?
Yes.
And Mayor Madigan?
Yes.
With an affirmative vote, the motion is approved.
Okay, let's see where we are. We're gonna have the business meeting agenda. brought to us by Matt Cavallo, our distinguished administrator. Matt?
Thank you. First, congratulations, Keith and Scott. Couple resolutions on tonight's agenda. First off is budget transfers. As you know, from past years, we can only do budget transfers in the last 2 years of the fiscal year, last 2 months of the fiscal year and the first 3 months of the subsequent year. So now that we're having our first meeting in November, this is our first budget transfer of the year. Some other things of significance. We are releasing a safety and security bond for the construction of the Vista. There's a contract change order and closeout for our 2023 road program, which is, I believe, is negative about $50,000. Authorize a contract with Valley Health for our CDL mandate compliance. We are also awarding a contract for the Ravine Ave and Grandview Avenue guide rail installation. And we will also be approving the contract closeout for the first contract that we let for the Russell Farms Community Park for the Flexi Pave. The second contract we're still waiting on. There's also 3 ordinances for introduction. Ordinance 1995 modifies our zoning regulations to, with regard to 2 sections of town, one off Franklin, one off Strawbrook, to accommodate affordable housing and residential development. 1996, when we were going through 1995, we realized that the schedule of dimensional requirements in our zoning code had not been updated it was in need of several revisions. It was missing a lot of zoning changes that were made as part of the round 3 affordable housing settlements. So we're reintroducing Schedule 1. And Ordinance 1998 is an ordinance that provides for the township to enter into a lease agreement with Dish Wireless for the installation of wireless communication facilities at 1 Scott Plaza, which is this site, but it's specifically the Memorial Field sports lighting tower. There are several motions, and we also have an ordinance for second reading, public hearing, and further consideration, which is the ordinance formally accepting the $248,000 DOT grant for the reconstruction of Grandview Avenue Phase 2 and setting up the appropriation. Just some updates. Leaf collection has begun. It's in its second round. We started on Monday with its second round, so stay tuned to our website and our social media for updates as to where they are. Reminder that white goods collection resumes next year. We're done for this year as we're heavy into leaf season now to the end of the year. As I already mentioned, there's an ordinance on for the funding and acceptance of the grant from DOT for Grandview Avenue. We issued a bid for the last shade tree removal list of this year. 8 bids were received, and that project was awarded by purchase order to Chris Fix Tree Care for Midland Park at $21,180. The closeout I mentioned is on for Russell Farms Community Park contract number 1. That maintenance bond has been received, so this is just a formal closeout, and the final payment is in that stack of envelopes over by Nancy. Same thing with final payment for the 2023 road program. All materials have been received and the work has been completed for the grant, the 2022 DCA firefighter grant that we received for the purchase of turnout gear, washers, and dryers at each firehouse. The project status reports and the reimbursement reports were submitted to the state, and we are just awaiting the final payment from them on that now. We solicited quotations for the salt shed roof replacement. That PO was cut, about $31,000 to American Roof Maintenance, and that was funded out of our 2023 capital plan. And finally, more grants. We've been awarded $166,168 from the New Jersey Department of Transportation Local Aid Program for the resurfacing of Lawlins Road.
Great. That's it. Thank you very, very much. Okay, Township Committee reports. We're going to go in alphabetical order tonight. We're going to start with Mr. Boonstra. You don't want to hear the Township Committee reports? This is the best part.
Well, wait till you get to 70.
That was good. That was good. Thank you, everybody. That was good.
I brought a good group.
I know, you did. Okay, just wait a minute.
Yeah, I'm fine. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, I came from Clifton. Yeah, take care. Nice to meet
Okay,
you.
Judy, you ready?
Say when.
Go ahead. All right, Mr. Boonstra, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. As far as our committees go, there hasn't been a lot going on. Planning Board has no meeting again this month because there are no applications. Sewers, we have a pre-construction meeting coming up. What's the date on that, Matt? Do you know offhand? It's coming up later this month. A pre-construction meeting.
The week after the Tuesday maybe?
Yeah, I forget. It's coming up mid-month, and for the barn project on Terhune and Sycamac. So that is real progress. That we're having a pre-con meeting with everyone involved. Board of Health, there was nothing much going on. Zabriskie House, I'll get to in a minute. Historic Preservation also had no meeting. Police Committee, I'll leave it to the mayor to comment on that. The only thing I want to mention was that the garage is up. Our 4-bay garage behind the police department is up. It looks great. I want to thank everyone involved, our DPW and everyone who worked, the Facilities Committee, Pete, and everyone who worked on this. It's well needed, and I thought to myself, we're already wishing it were 5 bays, not 4, but that's okay. That's okay. So anyway, now, on the 19th, I attended the Christian Health Celebration of Excellence Gala at the Venetian. It's always a great event, great program, great food, and great company. The Zabriskie House trustees had a trick-or-treat. I think it was on the 21st, and it was 28th. I'm sorry, the 28th, and it was well attended. There were over 200 people came through, and the best part was there were many, many young parents with young children, of course, all trick-or-treat age children, and they came through there. The trustees, Joyce Santamore did a great job organizing it, and Jane Hildebrand, and it was just a great event and a great opportunity for people to see our Zabriskie House. I attended the Veterans Luncheon at the YMCA Monday, which is always a good event. The Y does a great job there. Tom was there, Matt was there, Scott was there in his official capacity, the other official capacity. Assemblyman DePhillips was there, Senator Corrado was there, and at the end of the meeting, or the end of the program, they presented the 2023 American Spirit Award to Nick Ciampo, which is a well-deserved honor. This is the second American Spirit Award that the Y has presented, the first one being Dr. Ken Herman from Wyckoff. So it was well-deserved by Nick. We're proud of Nick, and I don't know, we may want to get him in here sometime. I'll leave that up to you, just to recognize the fact that he did receive this award from the Y. Election day went off well. I want to thank Nancy and Mary Ellen and Anna, her staff. There were a few little problems in the beginning, but I think you guys got them worked out and everything kind of went off okay. It was a pretty good turnout. I also want to thank the DPW for getting up before the crack of dawn and getting everything ready to go. And it worked out well. I don't know how it's going to work next year in a presidential year, but we've got a whole year to figure that out. I was present at the fatal fire on Mere Ave on Sunday. That was a very difficult experience. Mayor Madigan was there, Commissioner Melchione was there. Scott, were you at that with the department? I didn't see you there.
No.
Okay. It was a very difficult situation.
I was there as it happened.
The house was pretty well involved before anyone was able to get there. The fire department did a good job. The ambulance corps worked tirelessly once they were able to remove the victim from the building. And it was very difficult. And I give our volunteers, and I also want to thank all the other towns who helped. I think, Tom, you may have a list of that. You might want to refer to that. Everyone pitched in. Unfortunately, it was not a successful effort as far as the victim was concerned. But I want to thank everyone and offer my condolences to the family, obviously. The last fatal fire we had in Wyckoff, if I may digress a minute, was in the mid-'70s on the corner of Clinton and Quackenbush. It was a big old 3-story Victorian. It was in the middle of the afternoon, as this one was. There was someone sleeping on the 3rd floor, and the point of origin of the fire was in the kitchen, and there was a back stairway that went right up to the 2nd floor, so it went right up the 2nd floor and right up into the 3rd floor. And I was there in my capacity as a firefighter that day, and couldn't get up from the 1st floor to the 2nd floor because the stairwell was just impassable. So we put ladders up on the 2nd floor on like a porch roof and got in through the 2nd floor. And what I remember was Harold Gallenkamp was leading the crew I was with, and there was a lot of clutter in the house, and he got his foot and his boot stuck in it like a square window fan. So we had to dislodge him before we could go any further. The other thing I remember was that Lou Rizzo was the guy in front of me. We were not able to get up to the 3rd floor either from the position we were in. And finally got a ladder up. We didn't have the kind of equipment then that we have now, and it was just a single ladder on the back of a truck, and I got up there, but by the time we got up there, it was too late, and the gentleman did not survive. So fortunately, this doesn't come along too often in Wyckoff, but I just wanted to make note of those couple things and thank all the folks who helped on Sunday. And I want to congratulate Scott and Pete. Good job. Thank you, Mayor.
Mr. Malchione, comments?
That's not alphabetical order.
Huh?
It's not alphabetical order.
Well, I started in alphabetical. I didn't say I was going to stay in alphabetical order. Did I say that? I started in alphabetical order.
I don't have much to report on tonight myself for committee assignments, but Rudy mentioned the fire this past Sunday, which was very with the very tragic, very sad day here in Wyckoff. And I just also want to thank all of our firefighters, our EMS, and all the volunteers that came out that day. Our department here in town, we say it over and over again, but they are truly the gold standard here in Bergen County, not the state, even across the state. And I was actually with some firemen the other night from another town, and they were commenting on the Wyckoff Fire Department, and they were like, Wyckoff Fire Department is just not highly regarded in Wyckoff, but also across the country for how they drill and how they approach fires, and we are very lucky to have them here in town. Also want to thank all the surrounding towns. I think Tom's going to mention them that came out. And it was a sad day here in Wyckoff, and just want to thank all of our volunteers. That's all I have
Thank
tonight.
you, thank you. Fisher?
Going back to alphabetical.
No, we're alternating alphabetical. I don't know what we're doing.
Oh, sorry. Also want to congratulate my running mate, Scott. And then big election.
Thank you. I would also like to congratulate Pete, my running mate. I'd like to thank all the residents of Wyckoff for their support in us. We do promise to continue to do the best that we can to make this the beautiful community that it is, and the reason we all chose to live here. I would like to thank the people from Town Hall that helped, the DPW, and everybody that made that day possible. It is a lot of work. So real quick, just for you, your friends and neighbors had left, but I would encourage you to investigate the YMCA and pass that along. There are a lot of programs there for seniors. Everything from a cooking class to you name it, and it's a short walk. I'm just throwing it out there for those that maybe not know what it offers.
A, I'm well versed. B, we have an active community, an active number of people who are members. And C, they think it's overpriced, given that we're neighbors. Just some feedback.
Okay.
And B, at some point in time, I think we'd like to have a discussion about its relationship to our community, the 50-year lease that's coming up in 2029, and some of the small issues, I'll call them border issues between my community. So I think it's great. I love the sports field. I couldn't be happier where everything is located.
Yeah.
We are taking active, I'll just respond quickly, is anybody from the Y, the police department, the fire department, who wants to come and talk to us, please, you're invited. You know, we'll give you a meeting, we'll have serve food.
Okay, that's fine. Like I said, I just throwing it out there for those that might not be aware. There are a lot of initiatives that they do offer to the senior community. So just throwing it out there for you. Some chatter I grabbed through Facebook and things like that. I'm not on it, but I hear it, and it has to deal with the leaf collection in our community. And I would just stress to all the residents to be patient with the process. The men of the DPW work long, hard hours, 6 days a week from now till Christmas, and their devotion is to make sure it's all cleaned before the holidays. So if you're on a busy street and there's a lot of leaves in the road, be patient with your resident neighbors. And I can guarantee you, and so Mr. Melchione is the liaison to the road department, that the project will get completed on time, as it always has for all these years. I gets me a little disturbed when I hear people that are impatient with the process. The process is controlled by Mother Nature, and everybody needs to be patient and allow the guys to do their job. Trust me, they are out there working hard to make it complete. So I would just like to have that addressed publicly from myself to the residents of this community. I would also like to extend my condolences to the family of that lost their family member in the fire recently on Muir Avenue. I am a member of the fire department, and they are the best in this country. They're the best anywhere. I trust my life with them, and I'm glad to call them friends and fellow firemen. And this community is very fortunate to have all of them protecting us, as is with our police and our emergency services, our ambulance. They're all dedicated people to this community, and they all do a fantastic job. So again, they did the best they could on that day, and unfortunately the outcome was what it was. And again, my condolences go out to the family of that lost member. So that's all I have.
Shanley?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Congratulations, Scott and Pete, on your election. The Wyckoff Board of Adjustment met on October 19th. It was a long meeting. One of the applications that took up a lot of time was Eastern Christian School on Sycamac Ave is trying to put in a synthetic turf field with other improvements. The board is going to meet again this month for a third time because they want them to come back with some landscaping and screening and fencing changes. There were quite a few people here in support and some with concerns at the last meeting, and that's why the meeting lasted quite a long time, but they were able to get to other applications on Crescent Avenue, where they were asking the applicant to come back this month to scale back their application because of the size of the lot. It's a very undersized lot. Then there was a pool variance on Sycamac Avenue granted, and then there were 3 applications that had to be carried to this month because the Eastern Christian School application took up so much time. So my condolences to the family of the person who was a victim of the fire. Our fire department is second to none, so I'm sure they did the best job they could get in there to hopefully save that woman. But my condolences, and I think we should, before our 8 o'clock meeting, just do a moment of silence to honor her, if we could. That would be great.
Father Stephen's going to say something.
Okay, then we can
prayer.
have Father Stephen say something too.
Well, we can do that too.
Yeah.
I was going to bring it up.
Okay.
That he was going to do it, but okay.
Now, the rec board is meeting on Monday, coming up, but I'm just going to give an update. 2 of our football teams in Wyckoff, the Pee-wees, which is 3rd and 4th grade, and the seniors, 7th and 8th grade, are in what's called the Super Bowl for their league, coming up on Sunday, and that game's going to be played at Ramapo. So both games are going to be played at Ramapo. The league is doing the Super Bowl at Ramapo Field on Sunday. And Miss Toomey, I want to, just let you know, the Ramapo Indian Hills Board, if you're concerned about anything, the meetings are on Zoom. They're televised live, so you can just click on the link and listen to it. And you can hear what's happening. You'll hear that a new acting superintendent will be starting because the current superintendent has left and he's going to Fairlawn. So you'll hear it. I mean, if you can also listen to the past meetings as well. I'm not sure you'd be interested in listening to it because some of the decorum at those meetings has not been the best. So, but you can definitely look at it and see how you like it. But you're welcome to do that. So, but also in terms of Ramapo, I just want to let you know that the Ramapo football team is playing Northern Highlands tomorrow night. In the state finals. It's like one of the second to last finals that whoever wins, I think, gets to play either at Rutgers or at the MetLife Stadium. So let's hope that Ramapo could pull off this win. And I know you like to hear about the girls, and unfortunately the girls soccer team lost to Northern Highlands on Monday in the States. So I try to be just as, I talk about the girls and the boys. Even though I didn't get blessed with the girls, I only have 3 boys. Even though my wife knew I wanted a girl too, but we couldn't control it. It's like, so the other issue is, that's about it. I think that's all I got. Yeah, that's it. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I too also wanted to comment on the fire at Mere Avenue this past Sunday. I was there. It was very sad, very sad event. Just want to comment, very kudos to the fast response from the Wyckoff Fire Department and other mutual aid towns, and our first responders, the EMTs, and all those that were assisted the firefighters there. There were fire companies there from Allendale, Oakland, Waldwick, Ramsey, Hawthorne, Millen Park, Saddle Rivers, and a couple of others that Ridgewood was there. And it was a very difficult time, and sadly Mrs. Ingenuto didn't make it, and we pray for her son Charlie and her grandchildren. And as Father Stephen will be here tonight, and I had the opportunity to go to many soup kitchens helping out with Charlie Ingenuto and the 2 grandchildren, and I saw them last night at the wake, and it's a very tough and challenging time for them, but they know their mom is in a good spot. The veterans, I had an opportunity to go to Veterans Lunch Monday, and of course we all salute our veterans this Saturday, Veterans Day, November 11th, 11th day of the 11th month at the 11th hour. That most kids in school today would have no idea what you're talking about. But we salute all our veterans. It was a nice lunch. It was a nice salute to and congratulatory to Nick Ciampo. And we're going to try to bring Nick in and have the governing body honor him. We're kind of targeting December 5th, but we'll have to see how that goes. It's kind of new. Elections on Tuesday. Congratulations to Pete Melchione, Scott Fisher, and thank you very much, Nancy Brown. She was assisted by Anna, Mary Ellen, Joe Salerno, and many of our DPW crew setting up, tearing down, cleaning up. We had early voting there. The 9 days prior to the election, with a day off on Monday, and it was a Herculean task, especially seeing the ballot. They had to put in the machine. Let me see how long it was. This long, about 24 inches, and a lot of paper, a lot of comments about the amount of paper, a lot of comments, particularly from women. The lovely Mary Madigan included, that they were not too happy giving up their birth dates. So interesting. They all seem to have driver's license, but they had to give their birth dates. Next thing I have on my agenda, as far as other items, police committee. The police committee, as we all know, We're out there with, looking for applicants. We have received applicants. We have an opening in the police department, the first of the year. The applicants are in. The testing of all the applicants will be next week, the 14th. And then the follow-up will be interviews of those and rankings, and then it will then eventually come here. You know, we'll probably have a police committee meeting the week after the League of Municipalities, which is next week. Then we'll get some further updates. Matt brought up about the leaves. Scott brought up about the leaves. DPW crews are working hard. Our roads are getting crowded, and I just feel how important it is to bring it up again. I went through a very unfortunate situation in town where there was a landscaper who was doing two properties, one on one side of the street, another one on the other side of the street, and he personally, as the landscaper, put the leaves here and here. You couldn't even get through, and then he was good enough to park his truck right behind it, so if you could navigate through, his truck was there. So I had brought up 3 years ago the idea that I think it's time that we consider having our landscapers licensed. At least they're licensed and they know what they should do, what the rules are. We could have it bilingual, whatever it is, not to make a nuisance of it. Other towns have them licensed. And there are other different licenses there, but they just don't seem to know what the rules are, what the expectations are, and maybe as part of that process, we consider odd even parking of their landscape trucks. Some of the streets are very difficult to get through, and you know, if they're all parking on the same side of the street, it might make it a little easier. We know that they're supposed to be putting the leaves not in the road, on the side of the property, but it just seems to be a little bit out of control, and I think we should take a look at that for the governing body's consideration. I think maybe the time has come, and would help to restore clarity, and it could be as simple as, you gotta come in, you gotta know what it is, you get your sheet, it tells you what you can do, what the expectation is, because I don't think they know what the expectation are. At least the landscaper that I try to chat with, I gotta call the police, because they're on both sides of the road, and unfortunately, they had no concept of what could be the issue. The lawn is nice and clean, it looks great, so. Anyways, that's all I have to say. My attorney, Mr. Becker?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, Industrial Committee, Right Lifeline's still with us. As you know, I reported last month, or last meeting, that they sent us a letter under a subsection that they didn't qualify for, which was true. They're now a state winery. But I went back and looked at the statute, and there is another section that they could qualify for, so I did bring it to their attention. It was a Scrivener error on their part. They supposedly are getting licensed by the state so they can get permits and go forward. So I believe I sent out their new letter to everybody, and I don't think there were any negative comments. The only thing we can really control is zoning. You know, they can't do it in a residential area, and also time. You know, they have to stay within whatever the time constrictions, because it's regulated by the state. So unless there's really any question or objection, we can get back to them and say that, you know, there are no objections. But their first letter, I was correct that they didn't qualify, but it was really, they were citing the wrong section of the statute. So they did make that correction. Other item, I sent out this week an agreement to Franklin Lakes. Every once in a while we get residents from Franklin Lakes that want to connect to our sewer system. My understanding is, even though I had some previous conversations with their attorney, that we were not so much in agreement. I think we've reached an agreement. We're going to bill Franklin Lakes. They're going to pay us. The agreement will state that whoever that resident is, they're going to get billed by Franklin Lakes. They owe Franklin Lakes, but it's not our responsibility to go after them, to bill them directly. And Franklin Lakes does not wait to get paid to pay us, because we can't put any liens on them. So I sent out a draft agreement this week for one of the residents that we know of that is interested in doing it. I think there's another one in the works, and if it's good form we can use in the future if there's others that want to connect. But the bottom line is, we're going to build a municipality, and they need to pay us, because we don't have any right to go after that resident. We shouldn't be waiting for the money on that. I just want to mention to Spring Meadows, I think Nancy even mentioned Christian Healthcare Center. you're fortunate to have a great organization here, Christian Healthcare Center in town. It'd be a good way to reach out to them, because I know they can help out with seniors, so certainly I can even help you with that connection. I was on the trustee board there for many years, so, but it's a good organization, so to partner the two together might be a real benefit, because they can help you in transporting some of your seniors and so forth. We're fortunate that they're here in town. Congrats again to Pete and Scott. Glad to see you're both going to be on for signing up, re-up for another 3 years, so that's good. And I was unfortunate as a vet, could not make this year's event at the Y, which is a wonderful event. Something came up that morning because I was signed up to go. I always enjoy going. Scott and Y does a wonderful job with that. I have to say, Wyckoff, as a vet, I appreciate living in this town. When you combine the Memorial Day here and what the Y does, it's a great place to be appreciated as a vet. And as a vet, I do appreciate living in this town. So thanks to the Y, and this town really does, they really go out of their way. In fact, the speaker this past year, who I believe is the president of Rampo College now, she's a retired general, West Point grad. I got to speak to her a little bit afterwards, and she was highly impressed with Wyckoff. You know, the way that, you know, our Memorial Day and appreciation for our veterans. So it doesn't go unnoticed. It's a great place for vets to come live, retire, or to, like I have done, spend the last 30 years. So again, thank you. That's it.
Mr. Mayor, I have one other item.
Okay, I have just one thing, and then you can add. Pete, speaking of the veterans, I know we get the military banners that you've extended from Memorial Day through Veterans Day. You want to just comment a little bit about that?
No, I mean, I think our banner program here in town has grown every year. It's the 3rd year, I believe, we've had them up, and a lot of people that come through the town, they appreciate it, and just a great way to show some respect and honor our veterans here in town.
So Saturday, you see a veteran, say thank you. If you see an enlisted person, say thank you. Scott? Matt?
Thank you. Just the last thing is, you all received a copy of a letter that I sent today to the BCUA with regard to a new county tax that they've implemented that's ultimately going to get pushed down to us. Whether it gets pushed down to us next year or 2028, it's eventually going to come down to us. But short end of it is, they've amended their solid waste management plan to implement a solid waste management services fee on a per ton basis for all waste generated within the county, not just municipal solid waste, all solid waste generated within the county, and it must be paid by the receiving agency of the waste. So the transfer station has to pay this fee, which yesterday was announced to be $1.89 a ton. So I sent a letter on behalf of our,
Per year?
per ton,
But done annually.
Per ton annually?
per ton annually. So,
That's a lot.
so between
really
Wyckoff, Franklin Lakes, and Oakland, we will generate, roughly about $30,000,
It's huge. They added taxes.
to the county, just for our municipal waste that we collect under our under our collective agreement that we have between the three of us. The question that we have is, we have an agreement that runs through 2027, and there's no clause in it that says the vendor will pass the charge on to us. So my question to them is, who's paying this fee? Because the vendor is not collecting it from anybody, and he didn't include it in his rates. You know, the BCUA contract's up at the end of this year. So their new contract includes the municipalities paying that fee pretty much. But we don't participate in the BCUA disposal contract. This sort of, from what I understand and speaking to other administrators, this hit everybody by surprise. They're pretty much, they're collecting a fee. What they're saying, it's to cover the fees of the county health department and the BCUA for managing garbage collection throughout the county.
What do they do to manage?
What do they do?
They hire people to
They
manage
hire-
it, and they gotta pay for them.
Exactly.
That's
It's
what
all
it
about
is.
more jobs.
Yeah, of course.
So, more to come, but this letter went out today,
And when does this take effect?
January 1.
Okay, thank you. We don't have time for the executive session now, but we'll have a very brief executive session at the end of our 8 o'clock meeting, which is anticipated to move along pretty quickly. With that, can I have a motion to
Can I
adjourn?
ask one question? Something,
Yes.
am I allowed to ask Ms. Toomey a question?
No.
Okay.
On the record or off the record? Go
I'm
ahead.
just curious.
Go ahead, ask it.
The spotters you spoke about, with the trees, are they like in trees, or are they like on the ground with camo, or what? I'm just curious.
They walk on 2 feet. He's a gentleman who is very much in charge of a lot of the grounds on.
Okay, I'm just curious that, you know,
He's
it's like,
he is a dedicated
Sounds like-
arborist and.
okay, sounded like kind of an operation, you know, I'm just curious.
And he is on the board, and he sees to it that they don't pay too much for any more trees for anybody and things like that.
Okay.
But
Great.
they're
Okay.
trying to keep things safe
Okay,
for our very expensive, plantings
Yeah,
and things
yeah,
like that. A lot of
Okay.
people invest a lot of money in their plantings.
fair enough.
So,
I'm just curious, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mayor.
but
I-
he is the one who prepared that
Report.
wonderful,
Okay, okay.
assessment thing.
Okay.
I was gonna ask if he was a spotter getting ready for deer season, but I was too smart with all the people here to bring up the deer. With that, can we have a motion to adjourn
So
the
moved.
work session?
Hold on,
Yes.
let's go with number 12, motion to recess.
Oh, okay, we're gonna recess, 'cause we're gonna come back. So we're gonna recess the work session,
Yes.
please?
Motion to
Motion?
recess.
Second,
Mr. Boonstra?
yes.
Mr. Fisher?
Yes.
Mr. Melchiong?
Yes.
Mr. Shannon?
Yes.
And Mayor Madigan?
Yes.
With an affirmative vote, the motion is approved.
I'm gonna use the restroom real quick.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be in touch.
So,
When did that come out?
We're still on.
When did that come out?
No, you don't. We'll have 2 minutes.
Parents or whatever they want.